Hello, good morning everybody. Welcome to this campaign preview for Words Grow Minds. I'm Daniela Retorto. I've actually just joined this campaign, so I'm really delighted and honoured to be your host here this morning. You've got your popcorn. Wasn't it a treat to have the Capri Theatre's historic organ playing for us some classic cinema show tunes? That was performed by Claire, and she's a volunteer, and she agreed to give us her time this morning. She's in the back, so a big round of applause for Claire. Before we go any further, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Kaurna people and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Robert Taylor from Kamukari is on his way. He is stuck in traffic, but he will be here to properly welcome us to country very shortly. We have lots of special guests here with us today. The Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Peter Malinauskas, Michael Hewitson AM, the Mayor of Unley, Sandy Pitcher, the Chief Executive for the Department of Human Services, Kim Little, the Chief Executive of the Office of Early Childhood Development, Lynn Kurtzer and Annie Lawless, Co-Directors of the Child and Family Health Service, Associate Professor Victoria Whitington, Presiding Member of the Child Development Council, Bruce Lynn AM, Chair of Libraries Board of South Australia, and Peter Withey, Chair of Raising Literacy Australia. We're also very pleased to have so many leaders of early childhood across South Australia here with us today. Graham Jeske from the Smith family and Craig Bradbrook, the CEO of Playgroup South Australia. We also have with us today leaders from organisations including Gowrie, Early Childhood Australia, Good Start, Anglicare, United Way and far too many others to mention. Big round of applause for all of you who've made the time to join us today for this launch. We are all incredibly grateful that you're here with us supporting this campaign. A couple of quick housekeeping rules, obviously a no smoking zone, and just like the movies, are your phones switched off or to silent, and in the very unlikely case of an emergency, there are exits that you can follow. So for the next 90 minutes or so, we're going to be sharing how Words Grow Minds can empower you and your organisation to use simple, consistent and evidence-based early development tools in everything that you do. We've got some brilliant speakers for you, not just here in this theatre, but there are hundreds of others who are tuning in online as well. So shortly we will hear from the Premier. We have author, coach and director of Positive Minds Australia, Madhavi Nawana Parker here as well. And we'll cross live to libraries across regional South Australia who are hosting their own Words Grow Minds hubs, bringing together early years services from their local communities. Then, Raising Literacy Australia's Julia Jones will talk us through the campaign and the resources that are available to you all before a special announcement from Libraries SA. But first, please welcome the Chair of the Early Years Task Force, Kate Ellis.
Well, thank you very much, Daniela. Can I begin by also, I say here thanking Robert for his welcome to country. I'm doing that in anticipation, and also adding my acknowledgement that we meet on unceded Kaurna land, and I also pay my respects to elders past and present. I want to thank all of our special guests. Daniela ran through a pretty comprehensive list, and I would add my thanks to that. But I want to particularly acknowledge the service providers that we have joining us today. I loved seeing you walking through the front doors. It is remarkable that we have hundreds of amazing people from all sorts of different organisations and different fields, united by the fact that we each work with young children and their families, and we want to see better early childhood development outcomes. I think that the most exciting and powerful thing about this project is that it is about building a ground-up community campaign. So I really do thank each and every one of you for giving us your time to be here today, and of course for the great work that you do each and every day. I also want to give special recognition to all of the amazing early childhood services who've come together to form the Early Years Task Force and who have been such an absolute privilege to work with. Over 35 government, council, not-for-profit and early childhood services have been involved in the development of the campaign we're here to talk about today. We're incredibly lucky to have benefited from the insights such as the Telethon Kids Institute reviewing and compiling research. We've had the CEO of Playgroups SA running around Adelaide advertising agencies listening to different campaign pitches, the head of the Smith family giving feedback through workshops, and of course, Libraries SA, who have contributed so much energy and ideas that I think Veronica Matthews might be my new best friend. I know that these are serious organisations who busily go about delivering remarkable services to programs and families, and I just really want to thank every one of these organisations who have given their time, their insights and their expertise to our task force. It just can't be overstated how powerful we can be when we all work together as one. But now to the reason we're here today. Today we are going to share with you lots of pretty pictures, some gorgeous and fun animation, but it's actually for a very serious cause. As a result of the Australian Early Development Census, we know that 22% of Australian children are not reaching their full potential by the time they start school. For South Australian children, this percentage is higher, at 23.8%, higher than the national average. And for me personally, there is no greater public policy challenge. We know that if children are behind before they even start school, they will often never ever catch up. We know that the development that occurs in these early years will play a role in shaping that child's entire future. And we know that we can and must do more to address this and to ensure that every child is given every opportunity to reach their potential. Now, some of you are familiar with the Words Grow Minds program, but I know that some are hearing about it for the first time today. So I'm going to give a quick background on how we came to be here today and what we hope to do. So a couple of years ago, the Office for the Early Years asked us to set up a coalition of service providers across South Australia who work with young children and their families to come together and work in partnership. This task force was given two specific jobs. The first was to increase quality interactions with young children and their families, and the second was to provide clear and consistent messaging to families and to the community about the importance of early childhood and ways to best support children's brain development. From the outset, we were adamant that we wanted everything we did to be solidly evidence-based. So we brought together all of the existing research, all of the studies, all of the findings about how neuroscience of child development is best clearly communicated, particularly to busy parents. And there are a few key points that immediately stood out. Shockingly for me, it was that 1 in 5 South Australian parents stated that they believed their baby's future outcomes were determined by the genes that that baby inherited on the day that they were born, rather than anything that happened next. 1 in 5. Also, we learnt, of course, that words actually help build a baby's brain, physically changing the way that it grows. And that early experiences have a greater influence on a child's development than their genetics. Now, because Jackie Bray is a very clever woman, she thought it was better that we actually engage real professionals to come up with a campaign and use this evidence to best raise awareness in the community. So our next step was we engaged 3 different advertising agencies to each come up with a public media campaign on how we use this dossier of research findings to best bring this issue to light. And what you are going to see today is the final product of one of those 3 proposals. We loved Words Grow Minds immediately. The campaign cleverly manages to not just say what, but also to say why in just 3 little words. It was devised by the geniuses at Show Pony here in Adelaide, who join us today. But it wasn't selected until we had focus group tested the campaigns that had been put before us, with both groups of parents and also groups of service providers. This one proved the most effective. It showed that it not only raised awareness of the key issues around this, but it also encouraged behavioural change and an increase in parental engagement. So Words Grow Minds was born with our adorable little bobble people. We're yet to name them, but we're thinking that might be a future competition. Interesting, they're also a direct result of those focus groups, which showed that a wider cross-section of the community could relate to these funny-looking creatures than when real-life humans were used in images, with many people saying that those real-life humans just didn't resemble their family and weren't something that they could relate to. We learnt several such lessons through the focus groups, and we then adapted the campaign accordingly. But we also knew that this needed to be more than an advertising campaign. The research is really clear that if we want a message to be absorbed, it is much more successful if that message is in surround sound, delivered in different ways to different people simultaneously. So we built the rest of the program around this concept. Words Grow Minds is based around a tripartite strategy. We do this by having 3 complementary programs, all delivered in unison. One is the media campaign, which is delivered to the general public. 2 is a professional development and information sharing program for service providers. And 3 is resources, advice and assistance delivered directly into the hands of parents. You'll hear more about each of these elements this morning. With our focus on evidence-based methodology, we then comprehensively tested the program. Both Whyalla and Mount Gambier endured 6 weeks of saturated coverage of all 3 elements of this campaign. And we just can't thank enough the dedicated, enthusiastic and amazing service providers who did the hard work and brought this campaign to life there. The results were greater than we could have ever originally imagined. We had McGregor Tan conduct a comprehensive independent evaluation of both the Mount Gambier and Whyalla trials. Their headline finding was, the campaign was able to shift perceptions and attitudes around engagement in early years, resulting in an increase in engagement behaviour when compared to pre-campaign levels. This works. What we're about to do in South Australia works. Their findings about an awareness of early childhood being increased by 20 percentage points. Recognition that we can play a key role through positive engagement with children in the early years, increasing. Reports of daily activities increasing by up to 39 percentage points. A greater understanding of what services exist to assist parents, with 15% of parents saying that as a direct result of the campaign, they went and sought out an appointment with CAFS or with another service provider. And we also know there was a decrease in the daily use of screen time. So our job now is just to replicate that success across the whole state. Bigger, better, and more ambitious, but also with the ability to have an even greater and lasting impact. Now, we're not claiming that this program alone is a panacea for every problem, every family and every child, but we do think that it can play a profound role in improvement. This is our opportunity to do something truly meaningful. I know that together we can fully grasp the opportunity to change the course of children's lives for the better. And I'm so excited to now really be able to get to work with you all on delivering it. So thank you so much for your time and also for the important work that you do. Let's all make this something really special. It is now my great privilege to get to introduce our Premier, Peter Malinauskas, who has not only supported this campaign, but of course we've seen in recent weeks, didn't just commission a Royal Commission into early childhood, but has adopted each and every one of those recommendations. He's set some pretty ambitious targets for improvement when it comes to early childhood, and we really hope that we can work to be a part of those solutions. So now, introducing the Premier, Peter Malinauskas.
Thanks very much, Kate. I too would do an acknowledgement to country, except Robert Taylor's rolled up. So how about we get him to do it, and then I'll more to say a few words. So come on, Robert, don't be shy, mate. You do a better job than me. So Robert Taylor.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Malinakis. Traffic, it can't be helped, ladies and gentlemen. I talk about blackfella time. I went to a Ugandan event once and they said, wait till you see the Ugandan time. And I was like, but we did end up waiting for about an hour and a half, I think, before the prince come down from his hotel room, overtime. So it made me look good, yeah? How are we this morning, ladies and gentlemen? We're blessed down here. We've got beautiful weather down here on Kaurna country today. I love this place. But in the spirit of my ancestors and I guess togetherness, I guess us all coming together today, just to acknowledge country and welcome everybody here, I'd like to say, Nyanki Namiana, Namani, Mani Nabuni Nyaluku Yatta Gana Yatta, Na Nari Robert Kari Karmo Taylor, Na Narendri Nangaraku Naranga Kumagana Mirna, Mani Nyalu Tampli Gana Mirna, Kumanadupana, Yatanga, Imbrendi, Tamdala Bukiana, Burkana, Kumagana Miniara, Na Yakandalia, Na Yungandalia, Nachalia. Ladies and gentlemen, did you understand all that? How about this one, Namani? Mani, please tell me you learnt that from me, not Jack Buckskin. Yeah? Jack is my cousin brother, so it's okay. I guess there's nothing wrong with a little bit of healthy competition, you know, it keeps us good. So the language I spoke is the language of the Kaurna people, and to begin with I said Namani. Namani is a basic greeting in our language. In a group setting we say Namani with 3 or more people. With one person we'd say Ninamani, 2 people Niwamani. But in a group setting with 3 or more it's Namani. And this sort of comes from some of the old people. If you talk to them you say, how many sons do you have? They'd say 1, or he'd say 2. And after that he'd just say many, yeah? Keeping it quite simple, our language wasn't as complex as the English language, believe it or not. It was more about the context of what we were talking about. So, Namani is a basic greeting meaning, how are you, or could you come, yeah, depending on the context. But I also said, so on behalf of my Kaurna elders and ancestors, past and present, it's a pleasure to be here today, stand alongside you and acknowledge country and you know, this beautiful city that we live in, this wonderful city we now call Adelaide. It's a funny word, that one, isn't it? Of course, it's only been called Adelaide for a very short amount of time, I think about 40 seconds, I reckon, in the course of history. But for thousands of years, this place has been known as Tanda Ganya. Tanda is the big red kangaroo. Ganya means rock in Kaurna language. So the big red kangaroo dreaming is quite a significant story to the Kaurna people. It runs from here right through the middle of Australia, also a part of our law. Ganya, the rock, it used to be quite a rocky place, but the term Ganya actually pays respect to a sacred stone that was along Garawirapari, the Red Gum River, the River Torrens. Unfortunately, that stone was quarried out during the Colonisation Act, but it's still a very sacred stone to Kaurna people and surrounding tribes. So my elders, some of whom are no longer with us in this part of their journey, they've moved on to the next part of their journey, they always taught me, nephew, when you're sharing about this place, always remember that sacred stone. So the dreaming place of the big red kangaroo, Tanda Ganya. Make sense? All right, so we want to hear you fellas saying that now, no more Adelaide, all right? No, that's all right. Look, to leave you with one last blessing, and just to introduce myself properly, my name's Robert Taylor. I come from 4 different Aboriginal groups, the Ngarrindjeri, lower parts of the River Murray and the Coorong, traditionally known as the Kurunk, the Nangaraku from around Mannum to Swan Reach area along the River Murray, the Naranga people from the York Peninsula, Ajadura country, the land of the butterfish, and of course the Kaurna people from here in Tanda Ganya, the dreaming place of the big red kangaroo. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. To leave you with one last blessing, I say, Bukyana Miana Yanchi Yarako Nyarloko Yarananko, Yanchi Yara Tirabanga, Nyarloko Miana, Tirabanga Kuma. In language, I called upon my ancestors to call upon the spirit of your ancestors, to come together in the spirit world as we are in the physical world. Bless this land, and more importantly, bless each and every one of you and your families here today. Nachalia, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. And I too would like to acknowledge that we're on the lands of the Kaurna people and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. To you, Kate, and the whole team from Raising Literacy and the Early Years Task Force, this is important, and I'm very appreciative of the work, the government's very appreciative of the work that you're undertaking, because we do believe it can make a difference. Kim Little, who is here as the newly appointed Chief Executive of the Office of Early Childhood, other Chief Executives represented from other government agencies that are here this morning, but also to each and every one of you that work in a sector that is fundamentally important to the future of our state and also to our country. If you just sort of go up to 30,000 feet for a moment and think about the world we're in at the moment, it is a really interesting time. You see signs of tension you see signs around the world, including in advanced economies in the West, where societies seem to be fractious, where there is a degree of tension within communities in a way that we haven't seen really for a very long time, certainly arguably since World War II. I think the best representation of that we see in our television sets on occasions is in the United States, an extraordinary country in their own right, but we see a lack of harmony. We see a polarisation in the body politic. I'm not necessarily just in a partisan way, but in the way we think about each other, a way we think about how our society is structured. And there are a whole range of different theories for why that is the case, and I've got my own. And much of it comes down to the fact that we do see a growing divide in most Western economies between people who are doing exceedingly well and those who are struggling. And that is true here at home too. A couple of weeks ago, Commonwealth Bank released a report, CommSec, and they rank every state around the country in terms of economic performance. And for the first time ever, South Australia was ranked number 1. Unemployment numbers came out the other day. For the first time, or we haven't really seen this in the state's history, we have got an unemployment rate in South Australia that is now below the national average. We've got the second lowest unemployment rate in the country. People's incomes are going up. I could sprout countless statistics to you about how well the state's economy is performing relative to where we've been over the last 20 years. But then you get in a car, and probably this is the greatest privilege of my job, I get to travel around and talk to people. And if we get in a car, and if I speak plainly about it, if we only have to travel sort of 40 minutes or half an hour from where we are now, and you can be in a community that feels utterly dislocated from a sense of economic prosperity. People doing it tough, having to make decisions about what they give up in an environment with a rising cost of living. Children growing up in circumstances in less affluent communities with less opportunity available to them, or at least a sense of less opportunity available to them. And you think, well, what is going on here? How is it that despite all the opportunity, all the prosperity, all the optimism for growth, that not everyone feels as though they are part of it? And the challenge that we have here at home, as much as we see abroad, is to ensure that governments are making the structural changes to maximise the likelihood that every last person can experience all the chance at prosperity that our society affords them today. And if you're serious about trying to break that nexus, if you're serious about wanting to have a harmonious society where people aren't left behind, it has always been true, it will always remain to be true, that education is the most powerful lever at our disposal. So then you start thinking about, well, what can we do in education to make a difference? Where, if we are going to allocate additional dollars, do we get our best bang for our buck if we're serious about that outcome? And every bit of research, every bit of evidence that we've got at our disposal tell us, do it in the early years. Put the effort into the early years. Yes, higher education matters. Vocational education and training matters. What we do in our high schools matters. But nothing makes a bigger difference in terms of getting return on investment about driving outcomes from young people than investing in the early years. Yet despite the fact that the evidence tells us that, open the paper today, turn on the television news tonight, and I guarantee you, you won't see it being mentioned. You will not see references to the fact that Australia, in comparison to the rest of the OECD, is one of the lowest investors in the early years we see anywhere in those advanced economies. You won't see that when it comes to PISA scores, Australia isn't just going backwards relative to comparable countries around the world. We are going backwards relative to where we were as a country in educational outcomes only 15 years ago. We're going backwards relative to ourselves. We are on track to leave a legacy to our children of actually giving them worse outcomes educationally on average than what we ourselves experienced. at the very time it has been more important than ever before to actually do the opposite. So, time to turn things around. That is why we went to the election with a comprehensive policy around the early years, including establishing none other than a Royal Commission. A Royal Commission that didn't get probably as much attention in the public discourse as I would have liked, but a Royal Commission that's findings have the power to be transformational for the lives that we are seeking to have a positive impact upon. A Royal Commission that was led then none other by a former Prime Minister of the nation. A Royal Commission that recommended this state government invest a lot more energy and effort in programs like Words Grow Minds, which are evidence-based, have gone through a rigorous process to get to this point, and which we know can make a difference. As Kate said, on their own, a campaign like this doesn't solve everything, but it does have to be part of a broader mix of policy responses to make sure we get that level of developmental delay where 23.8% of our kids in South Australia start reception with at least one form of developmental delay, down to our stated objective of getting it down to 15% by 2020. Sorry, in 20 years' time. 2020 would be ambitious. The rollout of universal access to 3-year-old preschool, which will happen progressively starting in 2026, is the centrepiece of that effort. And I can't possibly overstate how big a challenge that will be. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of resources. It's going to take a lot of new workers working in the field. But we're committed to the challenge because this is where we know we can make a difference. It won't be on the TV news as much as it should be, but it does have the power to make a difference, not just in the immediate future, but really set us up for the long term, so that we can fulfil that aspiration, which I believe every South Australian has in their hearts, to live in an egalitarian society where prosperity benefits all rather than just a ever-shrinking minority. Because that's what makes us live up to that pursuit of being a fair state in a great country. So today's effort and the launch of this campaign does make a difference, and it does matter, just as the work that you do is so critically important. So to that end, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for your commitment to really important work. To the Early Years Task Force, keep going. And I'm rather excited about seeing the advanced version of the campaign. I've seen the earlier versions, but not the most updated one. So Kate, I'll whisper into your ear, pass or fail, in just a few moments. Start joking. I am really looking forward to this, but not just seeing it here, but also seeing it on television sets throughout the state over the years to come. Thank you very much.
Baby's mind is growing even before they arrive. The more you talk and sing and play, the more their mind will thrive. How to talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby, make out you're a lion. Talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby. Your words will grow their mind. Every time you interact with your child, you're helping grow their mind. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.
Trust me, you will know all of the words to that from early March onwards, because it will be all over our screens. Thank you, Premier, for your ongoing support, not just of the Early Years Task Force and Words Grow Minds, but as we could see in the passion in your speech today, we know your dedication to early years development is genuine, and we thank you for your time and your presence here today. Let's go now live to Mount Gambier, which hosted the very first pilot back in 2022. If the magic of technology works, we're going to see Beck Coates, Children's Services Library Officer at Mount Gambier Library. Yes, fantastic, it worked. Hi, Beck.
Oh, I think it's
I think there is what we call in the business a tiny little delay on the line. But Beck, if you can, tell us who have you got with you there today?
Hi Daniela, I have Fiona Black, she's from TAFE-SA. I'm training our future early childhood educators, which is super important and very exciting. Sally Mann, Acting Library Manager and Community Development. Karen Donnelly, Community Development Coordinator here in Mount Gambier. And Kath Salmon, the Director of the Mount Gambier Children's Centre.
Fantastic. Welcome to you all. Beck, just tell us, how did you embed Words Grow Minds into your everyday programs when you were part of the pilot?
So we were super privileged to be a part of the Words Grow Minds pilot. We held a professional development training day here in Mount Gambier where we were able to hear straight from Raising Literacy Australia the best tips and advice on how to embed those 4 calls to action into our programs that we run here at the library. We run 3 weekly programs that are already quite well attended by our community, and we were able to directly input those 4 call to actions using the resources provided by Raising Literacy Australia.
Fantastic. And what feedback did you receive from families, and did you notice any increase in engagement?
Absolutely. The launch of our pilot was very well attended. It was well promoted throughout our community, and from then moving forward, we noticed the engagement in our library programs increased significantly, like astronomically in fact. People were coming in, they were asking that they had heard that there was resource packs available here at the library. They knew that we were a spot to collect them, and they knew that we were going to be running programs that complemented the things that came in those packs. And yeah, they certainly came in, and we noticed a massive increase in the amount of participants in our programs.
That's absolutely brilliant, Beck. And finally, just for everybody here in the theatre and listening across the state, what advice do you have for libraries and others stepping into Words Grow Minds for the first time?
Just embrace the program. It's amazing. The resources provided from Raising Literacy Australia are incredible. You'll be so well supported. And I think the biggest thing that we found was the relationships that we were able to build with our community based on this campaign were just so meaningful, and that the people that are coming to your programs are engaging. They've heard about the campaign. They want to know more about it. They're interested. They want to do it. They're very likely already doing it. So encouraging them and I guess acknowledging that they are already talking, playing, reading and singing, and empowering them to do that also at home.
Beck, thank you so much. A round of applause for Beck and everybody in Mount Gambier.
Thanks, Daniela.
Thank you so much. And a little bit later in the morning, we're going to cross to Kadina and Roxby Downs to hear their first thoughts on the campaign. Well, it's now my pleasure to introduce our special guest speaker. Harvey Noana Parker is Director of Positive Minds Australia, and she's the author of Resilience, Wellbeing, Confidence and Social Emotional Literacy books that are published worldwide. She's a passionate advocate for the mental health and wellbeing of all young people, parents and educators. She's a force of nature. Please welcome Harvey.
Thank you, Daniela. We're in great company here this morning, aren't we? People who care, my favourite kind of people. So let's have a look. Our brains change at every stage of our life, and it starts right here. Press again. How beautiful babies. And they come to the world, this blank slate. Their early experiences and environment have the power to have an impact on their development in those first 5 years more than their genetics. We have so much opportunity at this point. Look at how much growth we have in this very short time. Our babies are born with 100 million neurons in that very first day of life. And then, in every minute in those first few months of life, our beautiful babies are growing another 300,000 to 500,000 new neurons or brain cells every minute. So much power. But it's actually not the development of brain cells. I know. I just put that baby up, sometimes in really random sessions with lawyers. Doesn't matter who I'm speaking to, because look, who does not want to look at that baby? But it's not the development of these brain cells that is actually making the difference. It's the connection between these brain cells. And how are we getting these connections? We're getting these connections when our beautiful babies are spoken to, read to, and are interacting. And then the magic starts to happen. Can you tell it's hard for me to stay behind a lectern? Just had a lighting issue, so I couldn't do my usual wander, so bear with me. So by the time we're 3, we have 1,000 trillion of these connections. And so much opportunity lies there, because when we look at human connection, whether we're looking at the happiness research, the well-being research, it is the power of our connection with others that really makes a difference. So these early experiences in our lives shape the synaptic development that happens. Our brain is the most complex 3 pounds in the universe. So when we look at why we're doing this, and everyone here today knows why we're doing this, but if we just really take this moment, we know that early literacy, if we can really start to get this message out in those first 5 years of life, we will see our young people starting school with a readiness that we have never seen before, where they have an extensive, deep and rich vocabulary, where they're more likely to be having a better academic performance once they start school. Wild imaginations from the incredible work that authors like Mike here today have created for our young people to learn and grow from. Their creativity increases. They deepen their empathy. And when we know that empathy is the most important emotional intelligence tool, we have research to show this for our children's success at school and later on in their life. We can learn that from being read to and reading ourselves. Our children develop a deeper understanding of their world. They have much better concentration. And those of you out there, my friends like me, who have been doing this for a very long time, we can see how much that has dropped in the past few years for our young people. And of course, stronger bonds with the people reading to them, better brain health, and stronger emotional literacy skills. So our dear children, they arrive at school with their learners' plates on. They've only been alive for 5 years, such a short amount of time. And in that time, they have all of these opportunities to grow, but then they come to school, and depending on what they've been exposed to, depending on their environment, depending on their experiences, they come in, and the moment they sit down in class, they are sizing themselves up against every other child in the room. And in that moment, our dear children are asking, is school for me or not? Am I a learner? Am I capable or not? And so much of this comes from their ability to read, their ability to decode and understand what is happening in front of us. And so this moment matters, and this is why Words Grow Minds, matters so much, because we are getting to our young people in those early years so they arrive ready for school. Because nothing kills the love of reading more than not being able to do it. So this, young people, is a television set, all right? For those of you who are looking at this going, what's with the ugly background and that box that has some bit of glass on it? This is a television set back from when I was a child. And this is how we watched television. It was so boring, young people. It was so boring. We had to get up and go out and play and read books and engage and talk to our neighbours and really start to build those connections in our brains. But for our young people today, why this matters even more, my friends, is this. They now have smart televisions, and they're so smart that they can predict what our young people want to watch. And before our child is finished watching something on television, the next thing has come up, hasn't it? And so our brain is immediately longing for that next thing, that dopamine hit from the next thing that they can watch on television. And it's taking them away from what we really want them to be doing, which is reading and being read to and find this joy in our beautiful books. So thankfully, my friends, thanks to the wonderful work of people like Kate Ellis and Julia Jones and their team here, we are not stuck in the 70s. We're not going, well, it worked, it was fine. We are leading the country here in South Australia. And you can see the ways in which we are leading our country by just looking at this data. We have started so many things, and our Literacy Guarantee Unit is the envy of teachers around this country. We are working so hard to do the right thing for our young people. We are focusing, my friends, on solutions and not just the problems. So because our words matter too, my friends, we take opportunities like this to maintain our optimism and hope in our next generation. We are a mirror for them. Our hope and optimism in their world and in them becomes their hope and optimism in themselves. So I am beyond excited to be here today and see what continues to unfold. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for having me here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhavi. I was hanging off every word. My son turned 2 weeks ago, so I was taking on that advice very personally. But we've had so much support for Words Grow Minds since launching the pilot study in 2022. Now we're going to hear from a few more early childhood professionals about their experiences with the campaign so far.
Hi, my name's Jo Saunders and I've been an early childhood educator for over 20 years. I got involved in the Words Grow Mind pilot through the Playford Early Childhood Alliance. Through this, we've explored the different resources, tools, and we've connected with services and other networks. I've really enjoyed the ability to build educator capacity through the service providers and educators, and look forward to sharing this with families within our local community. It's really exciting that we'll be able to share this project through the community using common language, tools and strategies that are useful to educator, service providers, families and children, helping everybody to thrive in the early years.
Hello, my name's Libby. I've been working at Gadmidity Manu Children and Family Centre for about 6.5 years. I'm a speech pathologist, so naturally I jumped at the opportunity to be involved with the Words Grow Minds campaign. Our whole community was abuzz with this important message. Everywhere I went over the weeks of the campaign, I could hear this message and hear people chatting about the key points of the message. At the library, at various playgroups, at children's centres, at childcare centres. I would hear this message at shops where local radio was playing, and I'd also see it on Instagram. For me, another benefit was how it brought service providers together. It generated a shared purpose that has lasted long after the campaign ended. I'd encourage you all to join in with this. Our communities need it. Thank you.
Thanks very much to Jo and to Libby there. Well, to learn now about how the campaign will actually work and the resources that are available to all of you, could you please make welcome Julia Jones. She's the Director of Early Years and Operations at Raising Literacy Australia.
Thanks, Daniela. And good morning to you all. So, you've heard the what, you've heard the why, and now it's my job to get into the nitty-gritty of how we are going to make this campaign achieve the wonderful results we all hope for. Words Grow Minds is designed to align, underpin, and strengthen the work you are already doing with children and families. The aim is to incorporate the key messages and calls to action into your existing programs, to build on parent knowledge and emphasise why it is so important to talk, play, read and sing, and provide tools to support positive interactions to help children thrive. This campaign can be great for services, helping to promote your amazing work and programs, develop new partnerships, and give access to free resources and professional learning. We've just heard from practitioners today that the campaign is great for communities, with events, more opportunities to engage with others, and more information for families. Most importantly, it is great for children. However, this is only if we get the implementation right. The agreed messaging of the Words Grow Minds campaign has been developed and supported by these wonderful services and organisations. Our hope is that whether a family visits a library, playgroup, CAFS clinic, outreach service, children's centre, speechy, or parent group, they will receive the same key early childhood messages delivered in a consistent manner. Let's take a look at how we can collectively and intentionally embed Words Grow Minds into services and the community. So we've developed 3 easy steps to help you embed the campaign into your programs. Please know that this is not an overhaul of the incredible work that you are already doing with children and families, but a framework to hang your work on and messages you can embed into your programs in a way that is consistent and accessible for all families. We do acknowledge that many services are working with a range of communities with differing cultures, preferences and needs for their children and families. We want to work with you to adapt the campaign where possible. For example, for programs specific to Aboriginal families, we're adding an extra resource kindly donated by the South Australian Education and Training Consultative Council. We'd love to have ongoing discussions about ways that you think we can contextualise the campaign to your service. Let's quickly run through these 3 steps. So, step 1, make it visible. We will supply as many posters as you can distribute and put around your local community. We have a range of banners, some here, which we're happy to loan you for any events or special occasions. Additionally, we have all the artwork, assets and stills which we can provide you if you want to make your own displays and products. There's been some examples of this where the City of Playford created the custom Words Grow Mind assets such as magnets and floor decals and outdoor core flutes. Step 2, keep it consistent. All of the research that sits behind this campaign shows that its real strength is that the same message is being delivered simultaneously through different mediums, different organisations and different people. This is what creates the magic. In order to keep this consistency, we have created Words Grow Mind branding guidelines and some suggested key talking points for use when gifting the family resource packs out, which will be available on our website. Step 3, link to the community. So what makes this campaign so unique is that so many different organisations have come together to give input, insights and design the program. Oh, hello little baby. One of the more common bits of feedback that we've heard from the trials is how beneficial it was when different organisations came together, held joint activities, or supported each other's services. And how amazing is that? We really want to see this collaboration continue locally, even when the campaign is going to be statewide. To help support that, we are providing funding for local collaboration. Grants totalling $60,000 from Words Grow Minds will open in the new financial year for South Australian early years service providers, for you guys. The individual grant amounts that are available will range from $1,500 to $5,000 and will be specifically for collaborative events associated with the Words Grow Minds campaign. We'll provide more information about this and how and when to apply in the coming months. So stay tuned and get your thinking caps on about how you may collaborate with your local community and hold a Words Grow Mind event. At the heart of our program is what we call the tripartite strategy. 3 different programs aimed at 3 different audiences which all run concurrently and create a surround sound effect which amplifies our message. Let's now go a little bit deeper into each of these strategies and see how we can really bring their campaign to life. Okay, the first strategy is the mass media campaign, aimed at increasing the general public's awareness of the importance of early childhood development. When we say we've got it covered, we mean it. We have the most amazing creatives developed by the incredibly talented Show Pony team that are going to be placed all over metro and regional South Australia. From the week of March 11, you will hear and see these adorable characters on TV, radio, posters, billboards, trams, and the back of buses. You've now already seen the TV ad, but because we love them and we want you to all love them just as much, let me quickly give you a sneak peek at some of our other amazing media assets. Okay, so this is what we fondly refer to as our hero poster. And you are going to see these posters all over the place, all at these places here. We call it our hero poster because our focus group showed that this was integral in helping families understand about early childhood development and why it matters. We were actually quite surprised watching the focus groups to see how many parents responded to this one line. With up to 85% of brain development occurring during the first 3 years, it's important we interact and engage early on. It was such an aha moment for so many, and this really resonated and motivated families to consider the facts and think about the different ways they were engaging with their children. So with these findings, we really encourage you to share this message from our hero poster in conversations with your families. Okay, so here is our street furniture. Be sure to look out for this in and around the city and in your local community. And you'll certainly find these billboards hard to miss. I know, right? Wow, that's exactly what we've been doing all week. Ah, wow. If the TV, billboards and posters aren't enough, we've got this awesome Words Grow Minds tram hitting the streets. So please take a ride. By having these vibrant ads in high traffic areas, we are hoping to increase campaign awareness and generate conversation about the early years. I'd like to leave that one up for a bit longer, but we haven't got time. You've seen the gorgeous ad and heard the jingle. That 30-second jingle will also be all over our radio airwaves. It will be joined by a 15-second version, and we've also created a straight read, which I'd like to play for you now. Let's take a listen. Or maybe it will be a surprise for you.
With you. And with up to 85% of brain development occurring during the first 3 years, talking, playing, reading and singing are the best ways to help grow their minds. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.
So we think that's pretty powerful, and that will help with the longevity of the campaign and avoid that campaign fatigue. As you can see, the media buy is comprehensive. So you might be asking, what can we do in this space? Well, you can definitely build on and take advantage of this paid media campaign in your own organisation and community. We will provide posters to every organisation, But again, if you want to plaster your whole community and every local pin-up board with one, please do. We will happily provide them. This is also a great conversation starter with local families in the general community as you go around and plaster them through the community. But additionally, we really want all hands on deck with spreading the campaign on social media. Facebook and Instagram are the top channels across both audiences. Across parents and expecting parents and the general public, Meta and more specifically Facebook, is a social channel consumed most on a daily basis as well as weekly. On average, 51% of parents and expecting parents say social media is the way to connect with family and friends. This indicates our performance channels are going to play an integral role in increasing campaign awareness. To spotlight our calls to action, you'll be seeing these gorgeous characters in their different poses across socials. Talk, play, read and sing are the calls to action and key drivers of the campaign and can easily be included in what you already do with families. In fact, we know that most of your programs already include these calls to action, which is wonderful. These stills help families to increase awareness about the importance of the different ways of interacting. As we keep saying, we know the power in this campaign is through working together. We are seeking your help to post these messages across your socials. We do know how incredibly busy everyone is, so we want to make engaging with the campaign and sharing the messages as easy as possible. So we've developed a social media schedule. The schedule will guide and equip you to share Words Grow Minds on your socials in a coordinated approach. Everyone sharing the same key messages to their families and networks at the same time. Brilliant. The schedule provides you with all the tiles and text that you can directly post and outlines the timing so we all align with their overarching campaign. Services are also welcome to adapt the post text to suit your tone of voice and community. Please be sure to tag Words Grow Minds or use the hashtag Words Grow Minds to help the team evaluate reach. There is a whole lot of developed content which is ready to go. We have links to current research, tips and prompts for different activities that families will love to explore. Working with all of you who work on the ground with children and families is where we can make the most difference. We've developed a range of learning tools to guide you with campaign implementation and give you access to current research and practical strategies from a range of services. At Raising Literacy Australia, we often hear from early years practitioners that they'd love a course that really dives into the birth to 3 early childhood component and that they're looking for really practical tips about enriching quality interactions. Words Grow Minds offers a free master practitioner professional learning course that does just this. The course content includes the voices of respected and specialised early years services, links to AEDC domains and child development milestones, and works towards our goal of delivering consistent key messages across the sector. It's free to enrol and modules will begin to roll out with our official campaign launch date. In the series of modules, participants will learn how simple interactions, words, literally grow children's brains in the critical early years, how to support these interactions in a program, and how they can inform families about early development and campaign messages and support them as their child's first teacher. You can choose to dip into individual modules and receive a certificate of completion per module or complete the course to gain a Master Practitioner certificate. We'd like to take this moment to say a huge thank you to every organisation who has shared their valuable knowledge, insights and contributions thus far. Thank you. To complement the Master Practitioner course, there's also a series of free webinars that will roll out over the duration of the campaign. These are open to everyone, including parents, carers and community members. Everyone is welcome. Early childhood practitioners and experts will present live to share their knowledge and insights. We see this place as somewhere for everyone to connect, a place to share lived experience and also to learn and discuss. Here you can see the campaign calendar where you'll be able to keep up to date about social media posts, webinar dates and upcoming events. During parent focus groups, there were parents across the regional locations that expressed being unsure about how to engage with babies in the first year. They said at times they felt unsure of how to play with a baby or what types of books to read or songs to sing. Most parents in Port Augusta and Whyalla Group agreed there is a lack of information about how to engage meaningfully with babies and wanted to know more about this. Some families felt they had access to information, but at times they were unsure if they were doing the right thing at the right time. It's really important to remember that whilst for many of us, it's what we do each and every day. But for some, playing just doesn't come naturally. A key campaign objective is to provide direct support for SA parents and carers in the form of tools, advice and resources to increase positive interactions with their baby through talking, playing, reading and singing. So let's do it. How much fun is it to give free, beautiful, carefully developed quality resources to families? So much fun. These packs provide families with simple things they can do to literally grow their babies and young children's brains. There's a fabulous pack of conversation cards to get families started, picture books to read, jump and shout and sing with me, craft ideas, songs to sing, Play-Doh to get creative with, a parent and carer information booklet, and a Words Grow Minds library card, thanks to Libraries SA, to encourage families to join their local library. So much to do and talk about to encourage those important serve and return interactions. In fact, we have a special guest here today to show you just how interactive storytelling can be. Please welcome the wonderful author of Jump and Shout, Mike Dumbledon, to the stage.
Hello everyone, it's really good to see you here. Is this working?
Yes, that's working.
It is? Okay. Well, you've had some very serious and mature presenters, and now you've got me. I can't work at the lectern there, so Julia's going to help me with this and show you some of the things you can do with Jump and Shout, which I do in schools with kids from reception, sometimes as whole groups. And look what we've got here today. You guessed it, we've got a whole group. So I need you to practice some things first. So if you can hold the microphone for me, I'm just gonna put that down a second. Irreverence, but here we go. Okay, will you do this together with me? Clap. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. But all together, clap. Cheer. Hooray. Walk. Run. I forgot something I meant to do. I meant to check that everyone had put their popcorn safely on the floor. I can see disasters happening here. And when I say jump and shout, when I do this in school with kids, they're sitting on the floor and they're close together. So I have to do a sort of, I think you look like grade 4s. Oh, sorry, I was in America. Year 4s. And what year are you in? 3. Oh, you're so mature. I just want you to be very careful with how you do this. Now, I also want you to be careful. We can't pay the health bills on this. When it says jump and shout, you can just go up a bit in your chair and wave your hands in the air. So jump and shout. Well done. Then we're going to flip to the end of the book, and at the end of the book, we're going to use words like read. So we can read, plead. Then we're going to yawn. Oh, come on, let yourselves go a bit. You know, it's all right, it's okay. The kids love that. Yawn properly. Oh, that's better. Sleep. And here's the one they all love, and you've got to join in this. Snore. No, you can, they're not getting away with that. You can do that a lot louder than that, all right? Everyone's doing it. Forgive yourself. Snore. That's more like it. Okay, so as I read the book, and Julia's, it was too complicated to get it all on the screen there. You'll get a closer look when you get the packs. I'll just start at the beginning. Clap. Cheer. We're going out. Walk. Run. Jump and shout. We'll move to the end now for the last little snippet. The kids have to learn 30 things and present them perfectly. You've only got 10 to do. Read, plead, just one more, yawn. You did that really well. Sleep, then start to snore. Thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause, okay?
Oh, that's hard to follow. Thank you, Mike. What a delight it is to see you in action bringing this story to life. And that beautiful book is going into all of the 21,000 packs. We look forward to hosting Mike and other creatives at Words Grown Minds community activation events later in the year. So, how do you get your hands on these packs so you can give them to the families that you work with? If you haven't done so already, and thanks to everyone who already has, please contact Raising Literacy Australia so we can provide you with the relevant form. We'll be busy packing 21,000 of these gorgeous packs over the coming weeks, and they'll be coming your way during March and April. Our primary goal is to reach as many South Australian families as possible in the rollout. We are aware and slightly concerned about the possibility of duplication between services. To avoid this, we're asking if you can ask families if they've had a pack before and ensure that there is only one pack given per family and not per child. But look out for them. They'll be on their way soon. The Telethon Kids Institute and McGregor Tan have been engaged to support Raising Literacy Australia in evaluating the statewide rollout. The evaluation will occur through 2024 and 2025 to provide a baseline understanding of early childhood development in SA prior to the statewide rollout and identify any changes that occur as a result of the Words Grown Mind campaign for South Australian parents, the community and service providers. In addition, we'll be measuring the hits on our website and traffic on the Words Grown Mind socials. So again, please point families to the website and socials as much as you can. During the trials, we received really telling and very impressive data that was collected from services on the ground. We're hoping that we can again lean on you to collect data on your program attendance rates, family engagement and general feedback about the campaign. We'll send out more about this closer to our launch date. I am aware I have raced over a huge amount of information over a short period of time. Thank you for bearing with me. Fear not though, if you didn't quite catch everything or you have further questions, do we have a treat for you? To ensure you have everything you need to roll out the campaign, we're providing a campaign guide for services, and you can pick up your copy on the way out along with a sample resource pack. Speaking of which, we have a brand new website. This is up and running live as of today at wordsgrownminds.org.au. Here you will find 5 main pages with a section for family resources with tips and activities, an early years directory, a community events page to promote local events and Words Grown Mind activation events, and a section with early years research. And there's a whole section just for you. By going to the professional section, you'll find the social and media promotion kit, and you can visit there to download all the documents that we've spoken about today. You can enrol in the Master Practitioner course and register for webinars from here too. This is also where you can keep updated about the upcoming local collaboration grants. So as you've heard, this campaign is built on 3 strategies. The mass media campaign, working with service providers, you, and resources direct to families. The implementation and success of this campaign relies heavily on us working together in partnership to deliver these strategies across a range of platforms. The more families that see and hear the messaging, the more impact it will have and the more effective it will be. Sharing the important key messages of the Words Grown Minds campaign with parents and carers empowers us all to acknowledge that early, nurturing and positive interactions build brain development and the foundations for all the later learning and life successes. So together, let's improve developmental outcomes for all South Australian children. Thank you all so much for listening and for your incredible support.
Thank you, Julia, and to the team for that comprehensive presentation, and to Mike as well. We're going to check in once again with two of our live sites. Drum roll for the magic of technology. Hopefully on the line, yes, brilliant. We have Liza Williamson in Roxby Downs. Liza, who have you got with you there?
I've got all the representatives that deal with early children's services, ranging from the Community Hub to the Roxby Downs Children's Centre and kindergarten reps. And I believe there's an allied health rep here as well.
Thank you so much to you all. And I'm wondering too, do we have Lynn Sperling, Copper Coast Council Library in Kadina? Yes.
Hi, yes you do.
Hi Lynn, who have you got with you today?
I have with me some wonderful members of our community representing the Vita, Healthy Families, preschools, schools, Care in Motion, and our Community Engagement Officer from Council.
Thank you. Lynn, I'll start with you. How do you think local families will benefit from this campaign?
Well, it's a great promotion and a real reminder of how important early literacy is in our community. And the fact that we can not only integrate it with the programs we already offer, but offering us more opportunities, I suppose, to do more with our local families.
And Liza, if we can cross back to you, what are your thoughts on how local families will benefit?
Well, education starts at home, so what better way to support our families by services collaborating and creating more meaningful partnerships so families can become more confident with supporting their child's literacy journey.
And what do you think, Liza, in terms of how you might, you've got other service providers there, but how you might collaborate with local early years services in the broader community?
So here in Roxby, we're already challenged with limited access to support services and resources. So the few providers that we have already begun the collaboration process and creating those relationships between the service to support our families better.
And final thought from you, Liza, before I go back to Lynn, what are you looking forward to the most about embedding this campaign into your existing programs?
I'm definitely looking forward to working more collaboratively with our service providers here in the community.
Thank you, Liza. We'll wave goodbye to the Roxby team. Thank you so much. And yes, a round of applause. Thank you. We'll go back to Kadina. Lynn, how about you and the team there? What are you most looking forward to about embedding Words Grow Minds into your existing programs and campaigns?
Well, we're very fortunate in the Copper Coast and Yorke Peninsula that we've already got a very strong collaborative team of providers. And just being able to, I think, reinforce the messages of Words Grow Minds into our programs and bringing our local families on the journey will just be a benefit to everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. We'll wave goodbye as well to the Kadina team. Thank you. Now, I know we're all pretty keen to get to morning tea, but we do have one last special guest for you. Could you please welcome Bruce Lynn, AM, the Chair of the Libraries Board of SA.
Thank you, Daniela, and good morning, everybody. You've heard a lot about how libraries are pivotal as a focal point for this campaign. And those of you who are in libraries land, and there's a few of you here, know how much of a passion it is of mine to do anything we can to raise childhood literacy in this state. So I'm delighted with the central role that we're playing at Libraries SA in supporting Words Grow Minds, and I'm pleased today to announce a grant for local activation programs. So in doing so, I'd like to acknowledge the hard work and dedication and collaboration between library staff and the Reading Literacy Australia staff. It's been quite phenomenal. I know I've heard a bit from Veronica behind me this morning. She was in tears, I think, a moment ago, but she has been passionate about this. Thank you, Veronica. And I also want to thank the Libraries Board. We've got a few Libraries Board members here this morning for providing the funding from our bequest funds for this grant that we're about to announce. So very briefly, the guiding principles for the grant to focus attention on how we tangibly and permanently improve childhood literacy outcomes in South Australia. Sounds easy, it's not. And you've seen today the effort that's required. It's as if drawing on the old African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. We've heard today how important it is to engage with a whole community to change outcomes. And this program requires the engagement of parents, grandparents, carers and others that are touching the lives of our 0 to 3-year-olds. Therefore, the important elements we are seeking to promote in this grant are fourfold. 1, collaboration with local service providers, a chance to get libraries to connect and collaborate with everybody who is a service provider in their local council areas where the libraries are located. Secondly, community engagement and participation, encouraging library staff to support the campaign messages of read, talk, sing, and play as they engage and embed these programs in their early years programs. Thirdly, alignment with the Australian Early Development Census data, a chance for the staff in libraries and other service providers to do a deep dive into the developmental domains that are relevant to their local areas. And lastly, of course, measuring the engagement, as we've heard already. The total grant funding available from the Libraries Board is $100,000, and libraries from across the state can apply for grants from between $2,000 and $20,000 for programs and events that meet these guiding principles. Our hope is that this grant will encourage libraries, especially those in areas where the census data shows greater vulnerability, to engage with Words Grow Minds and make a tangible difference to early childhood literacy at the local level in those communities. And the pilot data, as Kate has said, shows us that that's the case. So finally, we all know this is important. The Premier spoke passionately about how much of a priority it is for him and the government, and there are very few things in life we can do that are more important than this. And as a result of that, I'd like to acknowledge the leadership shown by Kate Ellis and Reading Literacy Australia in bringing Words Grow Minds to reality. We can all talk about things, we can all plan things. This is now a reality. Well done, Kate. Thank you very much. I really look forward to the success of this program, and you have the full support of the Libraries Board and Libraries SA ongoing. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Bruce, for that fantastic funding announcement. $100,000 for libraries and local communities. It's been a lot this morning. Thank you. I appreciate all of your attention for the last 90 minutes or so. Thank you so much for coming and for showing your enthusiasm for Words Grow Minds. Can we please once more acknowledge and thank all of our early years task force members and participating services. A big thank you to the staff and volunteers at the Capri for hosting us today. And thanks to all of the members of the community who've come along to find out more and show your support for early years education. As Julia was saying, we have some resource packs, campaign guides and posters all available for our service providers, and you can collect them in the foyer. We'd love you to stay for morning tea and some networking if you have time. Thank you so much for your attendance. Have a great rest of the day.
Baby's mind is growing even before they arrive. The more you talk and sing and play, the more their mind will thrive. Gotta talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby, make out you're a lion. Talk with your baby, play with your baby, read to your baby. Your words will grow their mind. Every time you interact with your child, you're helping grow their mind. For more information, visit wordsgrowminds.org.au.